With Persona 5 looming ever closer and over a year passed since the last time we talked about it, I think it's time to get pumped again. After all, with the recent release of Tokyo Mirage Sessions Sharp FE, newly released gameplay trailers and reveals, there's a lot to talk about. Hey, there's a release date, February 14th, 2017. That's Valentine's Day and also my birthday, so it's gonna be a good date. They know what they're doing.
Ooh.
Nonetheless, I want to tell you why I'm and why you should be excited for Persona 5. Historically speaking, every new entry in the Megami Tensei or Persona franchise makes vast improvements to the gameplay. Things generally become less convoluted, combat is sped up, the random encounter rate is adjusted to make titles less grindy, etc. This is very evident with the shift seen from Shin Megami Tensei Nocturne to 4, as well as the shift from Persona 3 to 4. Now, while each of these games is seen as more accessible than the last, this doesn't necessarily mean they've been dumbed down. One of the biggest changes from Persona 3 to 4 in terms of gameplay was allowing the player to have full control of their party. Something that was complete bullshit, by the way. Fuck you, Junpei. Oh, and don't forget about the fucking fatigue system. God. But based on the gameplay we've seen of Persona 5 so far, this seems to be the case as well. The new sleek battle interface has labeled things very smoothly, yet they've added options to combat to make things more strategic. Yeah, they aren't dumbing it down. There's this new feature called Baton Touch, which allows you to pass your turn to another party member after exploiting enemy weaknesses. And they do it with a fucking high five. This is the best. On top of this, from the looks of the gameplay video shown at E3, combat seems to move lightning fast now. Turns move super quick, yet showcase care in the animations. All-out attacks are incredibly flashy and seem like they'll be super satisfying to perform. And from the looks of it, Persona 5 doesn't seem to be a case of style over substance. Newly revealed in the gameplay was, wait for it, demon conversations. Yeah, that's right. I was fucking right! Fuck you! What exactly any of this means, we're yet to understand, but demon conversations have not been in the Persona series since Persona 2, so it's exciting to see how exactly it will be incorporated. But yeah, I was right. Just so everybody knows. Next up, we've got the complete overhaul of dungeon design. With Persona 3 and 4, a majority of every dungeon was completely randomly generated per floor. While a classic design choice that makes replayability easy, I personally have always felt that randomly designed dungeons take away character. Like, yes, this is the Hot Springs dungeon, but it's not memorable in any other way besides this. Take a look at an RPG series such as Final Fantasy, and dungeon design sticks with you. You remember which rooms have which enemies, encounters, the trials that you have to overcome to reach the end. Welp, from the looks of everything, it seems as if Persona 5 will be saying goodbye to the randomized dungeons. Well, maybe not entirely, but they're clearly including set map design. This is mostly evident with the new ways you navigate the map. P5 Protag and friends maneuver around completely different in comparison to previous games. Sneak attacks on enemies look like actual struggles leading into combat, you can quickly teleport between points, and vertical movement seems to be an aspect of traversal. Like damn, goodbye the easy way. Now, some may see this as a negative, but I for one, love this. This is lining up with my opinion and might make everything so much more memorable. I can only imagine that we might see the inclusion of randomized side dungeons and areas, but if the bigger story dungeons all have specific design, I'm sold. Hey, remember last time when I was like,
Open world exploration.
yeah, well, I was right again, motherfucker. Fuck you, guy! 2 out of 5! From everything we've seen concerning social links and city exploration, Persona 5 looks absolutely massive. The city looks filled to the brim with life and activity. Yeah, we might have to use menus from time to time, but having the ability to wander with your player character close to the camera brings this element of immersion in that a Persona game has yet to encompass. This might actually be true for the entire Persona spin-off franchise. Previously in games, the camera is pulled back so far from the action and exploration. Well, with the exception of Persona Revelations, but with the camera being so close behind Glasses-kun, I can only imagine that the attention to detail etched into shops in the streets of Tokyo is gonna be great. The sheer amount of different areas and events seen in all the trailers so far has been staggering. Now, if they play their cards right and allow you to interact with a ton of different people and things in the environment, Atlus could have themselves one hell of an RPG on their hands. And speaking of character interactions, the new flurry of characters were shown off a few months ago, and well, the waifu wars have already begun. Now on top of Protag, Ryuji, Anne, and Morgana, we've been shown an additional 4. There's Yusuke, Resident Edge Boy, Futaba, the computer girl extraordinaire, don't forget about Haru, the first girly looking girl we've seen from the cast, and of course, my current best girl, Makoto. Why is she best girl, you may ask? Well, it's simple, she has the shortest hair of the bunch. Also, she fights with brass knuckles, and she has like this motorcycle persona. Don't judge me! Jokes aside, all of the new characters look to be relatively interesting. If Atlus continues the trend of having well thought out social links and further expands them, I can imagine that we'll have a killer cast of characters. In fact, Persona 5 director Katsura Hashino has already confirmed that they are revamping the social link system to bring it a step above previous entries. Hopefully, this will result in less anti-hype moments like, you aren't better friends yet. Aww. Letting our characters interact more with meaning each time will bring a bigger impact to each individual interaction. I realize that making the social links more in-depth is a huge undertaking, but if pulled off, this can leave a bigger mark on the player. Now for the biggest reason why I think you should be excited for this game, and it's not anything they revealed recently, or it's not even technically Persona related. Instead, it's a little gem they released called Tokyo Mirage Sessions #FE. Yo, you remember that Shin Megami Tensei Cross Fire Emblem game? Remember when they revealed it to be Tokyo Mirage Sessions? And remember when everyone got salty about the localization and how it's not selling too well? Well, let me tell you something! Tokyo Mirage Sessions is a clear sign and stepping stone of what Persona 5 is going to be, as it's already done almost everything I've mentioned thus far. Quicker combat, check. Less convoluted, check. Non-randomized dungeons, chickadee check. Better social links, you know it. Demon recruitment, well, maybe not that, but Daddy Crom, check. I can't think of a better example of evolution in the Megaten franchise than with Tokyo Mirage Sessions. Yeah, it's got a really hard barrier of entry. After all, if you completely despise things with Japanese idols, you're gonna have a hard time getting into it. However, Tokyo Mirage Sessions is one of those games that goes from 1 to 100 in a goddamned instant. Less than 20 minutes into starting the game and things are in full swing. As far as character interactions go, I don't think I've seen things handled more interestingly than Tokyo Mirage before. So you've got essentially a cell phone that is displayed on the gamepad, which allows characters to text each other whenever they feel like it. Everyone has their own style of talking, so personality really shines here. In fact, the main character Itsuki isn't even an avatar. He's his own character, a la old school Persona games, and watching him grow over time is vastly more interesting than being Yu Narukami. Well, besides the fact that you can hit on Naoto, but Kiria's a good girl too, man. And also, Bear Goodman is the best character in any video game ever. But this is besides the point. On top of the texting feature, social links are essentially handled as rewards for using characters in combat and hitting certain points in the game. And they aren't short, oh no, they're full-on quests that sometimes take a little thinking to figure out. Not just scrolling dialogue. Because of Tokyo Mirage Sessions' intermission feature, you don't have to worry about not having enough time to interact with your characters, and instead will be able to do so at your leisure. I almost prefer this to the rushed time system seen in the Persona games. However, I think time management is something that's very fascinating, so it's going to be exciting to see how Persona 5 handles going into more depth than previous installments without wasting the player's time. And oh god, the combat. TMS has one of the most exciting combat systems I've played in a JRPG in a very, very long time. Similarly to Persona, it's a system about exploiting weaknesses, but rather than getting an extra turn, you launch what's known as a session. By leveling up characters and learning certain abilities, they gain attacks that allow them to chain with other cast members. This allows some absolutely absurd combos, going into the double digits of attacks after using just one skill. And rather than being a system that's exploitable, the combat is based around doing this. That makes it also so very satisfying. Going through dungeons is a blast, as they're all very complex and require puzzle solving as opposed to maximum amounts of grinding. In fact, TMS encourages you not to grind by easily enabling you to skip combat. Melee attacks on the field just disable the enemies so you can run right on past them. But with each dungeon being very unique in the way they look visually and the incorporation of problem solving, I feel as if this ends up in a better player experience. You feel a bigger sense of reward when you get to the next floor or fight past the mid-boss. It's fucking good! Tokyo Mirage Sessions is out, and it's fucking awesome. I'm still playing through it, and every time I get a little further, I feel my nitpicks start to be proven wrong. Had this been called Persona 5 and released years ago, it wouldn't have felt out of place. Minus the whole Fire Emblem thing. I only wish that we were given a proper English dub, but other than that, TMS might actually be one of the best games Atlus has ever put out. But here's the thing. Tokyo Mirage Sessions is not Persona 5, nor will it ever be. Persona 5 has been in development for just as long, if not longer, than Tokyo. Persona 5 is going to be a game on technology way beyond what the Wii U is capable of. Persona 5 is going to feature a full English dub, a bigger world to explore, and incorporate deeper combat mechanics. Persona 5 is going the route of a midway point between the PS2 Personas and old school Shin Megami Tensei games as far as theming goes. Persona 5 could be the game that r/Atlus Megaten decides is okay. And that's why, based off my personal speculation, I think you should be excited for Persona 5. But I still think they should put Naoto in the game. But if not, Makoto's fine. Barry Goodman! Yo, thanks for watching. If you think I'm freaking stupid, you should write it in the comments. Otherwise, if you like the video, you can like it or comment or subscribe. Or actually, if you go to the Arcadea Live Twitch page, I'm actually streaming all of Tokyo Mirage sessions. So check that out. And you can also look at the old 5 Things I Want from Persona video if you want. But yeah, thanks. Bye-bye.